Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at a really fascinating life story.
Yeah, someone who navigated the world for, what, 40 years before getting an Asperger's diagnosis?
Exactly. And we're using his experiences, his observations, to explore neurodivergence, specifically Asperger's, but maybe not in the way people usually think about it.
Right. Less about deficits, more about, well, the gifts,
Yeah.
the unconventional path to success.
The whole mission of the source material, it seems, is shifting that focus.
Definitely. The author really hammers this point home. Stop asking what kids who are different can't do.
And start asking.
What can they do? It's about seeing the potential, the assets that come with being different. He used his own late diagnosis to sort of reinterpret his entire life through that lens.
And he sets his own terms right away, doesn't he, with language?
Oh, yeah. He's very clear. Being on the spectrum for him, it's not a disease. It's not an injury you recover from.
It's just a way of being.
Precisely. A way of being. He calls himself Aspergian, or sometimes Aspie.
Okay. And then he maps out the rest of humanity.
Right. Into these three categories he came up with. First, you've got people on the spectrum, these Aspergians.
Like him.
Then the proto-Aspergians. This is interesting.
Who falls into that group?
Your geeks, your nerds, engineers, scientists, people with that intense focus, maybe some similar traits. But they function okay in the social world. They don't necessarily need or get a clinical diagnosis.
So they kind of demonstrate that the core traits, like focus, can be valuable even without the associated social difficulties.
Exactly. It proves it's a spectrum, not just an on-off switch. And the third group,
The majority.
the majority, he calls them nypicals.
Nypicals.
Yeah, his contraction of neurotypical. Makes it sound less clinical, more like just another group designation.
Okay, so let's trace his path, because it definitely wasn't smooth sailing in that nyptical world, especially early on.
Not at all. School was a disaster zone for him.
Clearly smart, but just couldn't make it work.
Right. Couldn't conform, push back against authority if he thought orders were, well, stupid. Logic was everything.
And the result was pretty bad, academically.
Famous straight F report card.
Yeah.
Had to repeat 10th grade. It's that classic clash, isn't it? A logical, unconventional mind forced into a system demanding conformity.
But he drew a really key lesson from this about how weirdness is perceived.
Yeah, this is crucial. He realized that eccentric behavior, stuff people see as odd, it only really gets labeled disabled if it leads to failure.
Failure in key areas like work or relationships.
Exactly. But if you manage to succeed despite the weirdness,
Then you're not disabled, you're eccentric. Maybe even a genius.
that's the shift. And for him, success didn't come through school. It came through his hands, his technical
There's some things, electronic.
Yeah, started early, fixing instruments for local musicians, designing circuits. That technical competence became his way in, his currency.
Which leads us to that amazing Kiss story, 1979, Madison Square Garden.
Right, he's working tech and pyro for the Dynasty Tour, big time.
And Ace Frehley's guitar.
Ah, the guitar. He built this incredible custom job for Ace. Covered the whole front with mirrors, hundreds of tiny lights.
1,000, I think the source said.
1,000, yeah. And he wired them so they'd pulse and shimmer with the music Ace was playing, like visualizing the sound waves.
Wow. Purely from his technical focus.
Purely. And that success, that very visible achievement, it cemented the lesson for him.
Competence builds goodwill.
Loads of it. It doesn't make the strange behavior vanish, but like he said, competence excuses strange behavior. It became his main survival tool.
Find a niche where your focus is an asset.
Prove your worth.
And people cut you some slack.
Pretty much. The Nypicals allowed him his quirks once he showed he could deliver something valuable.
But even with that technical success, navigating the social world, that was still tricky.
Oh, absolutely. A minefield. Which brings us to how he tried to understand it, like mapping out rituals versus habits.
Right. He makes a sharp distinction there.
For him, rituals aren't just habits like, brushing your teeth. They're essential. They provide comfort, order, safety.
Like lining up blocks as a kid.
Yeah.
Or the restaurant thing as an adult.
Exactly. Same seat, same meal, same place every single day. It's predictable, safe.
But the danger is when that ritual clashes with an unpredictable social situation.
Like a dinner date.
The asparagus incident.
Ah, yes, the asparagus incident with Amy. Poor Amy.
So he had this very specific, logical way of eating asparagus.
Completely logical to him. He'd test the stalk's rigidity with his fingers first, then sort of mince it up with his front teeth.
Which he compared to a
gasoline-powered hedge clipper, his words.
And Amy was not impressed.
Understandably horrified. It's the perfect example, isn't it? Internally logical, comforting behavior becomes a massive social fail because it breaks unwritten typical rules.
That reliance on pure logic, even when it clashes with social norms, shows up in his naming conventions, too.
Oh, definitely. Everything gets a logical label, even if it sounds weird to others.
Like his brother.
Called him Snort as a baby because, well, he snorted. Then later, Varmint, based purely on behavior,
And places, too. Like the health center.
became the repair center.
Yeah.
Because that's its function, right? Repairing the body. Arms are forelegs, hands are paws.
Biologically analogous, maybe, but
But socially unacceptable. And it drove him nuts when people, like his fourth-grade teacher, just dismissed his superior logic because it wasn't the convention.
so if understanding explicit rules was one challenge, nonverbal stuff was a whole other level.
Huge problem. He described feeling like he was in a zoo cage, constantly being poked at by expressions, gestures, eye contact he couldn't decipher.
And he connects this to the neuroscience, right? Mirror neurons.
Yeah, this is fascinating. He explains how, for typicals, mirror neurons create this instant automatic feedback loop. You see a smile, your brain simulates smiling, you feel a bit happier, you smile back. It's the basis for that quick, intuitive empathy.
But for people on the spectrum, like him,
He says the neurons are there, but the volume is turned down.
creating an emotional vacuum.
Exactly. That immediate sense of me and you, that intuitive grasp of what someone else is feeling, it's just not automatic. It's delayed, or it has to be processed logically instead of felt instantly.
Which explains the need for conscious strategies. Compensation.
Right. If instinct isn't reliable, you build algorithms, you build rules.
Like the mental clock for conversations.
The 30-second rule. Yeah. He knew he had this tendency to just go on and on and on about his special interests.
Like 66,000 horsepower diesel engines.
Exactly. Stuff fascinating to him, but maybe not to everyone else. He realized he was boring people, losing friends.
So he created a timer in his head.
Yep. Green light for the first 30 seconds, then yellow. At 60 seconds, hard stop. Red light,
Yeah.
shift topic. Even if it is still totally absorbed in diesel engines, it's pure logical override.
That level of conscious effort just to navigate a conversation? Wow.
It's what allowed him to function, though, to build those reserves of goodwill.
Okay, let's shift to the flip side. The actual upside of these brain differences, sensory issues, for instance. He talks about touch sensitivity being extreme.
Underwear with teeth was his phrase for seams and labels. Really visceral.
Most parents just cut the labels out, right?
Yeah, but he saw that as just managing the symptom. He worried about brain plasticity, the brain digging deeper and deeper ruts around that irritation.
So instead of changing the clothes.
He changed his brain. He literally trained himself to redirect his focus
Oh.
by intensely concentrating on something else, the sound of wind, a ticking clock in his head, anything forcing the irritation into the background until his brain stopped carving that negative pathway. He used focus against the sensitivity.
That same power of focus fueled his electronics genius, didn't it? That idea of seeing music.
Incredible. He describes being at a dance, seeing the blue glow of vacuum tubes in an amplifier pulsing.
In time with the music.
Exactly. He wasn't just hearing it. He was seeing the waveforms, visually processing the mathematics of sound.
So he could bypass formal math?
Totally. He failed algebra. But he could look at a schematic, imagine the components twisting and shaping the electronic waves, and know intuitively what it would sound like. He was doing calculus, basically, but visually, practically.
Abstract symbols were meaningless, but the physical reality of the waves.
Made perfect sense. This mathematical vision was his superpower, led to actual inventions like building effects right into instruments.
And it explains his rapid learning ability, too, like getting that Cadillac dealership job.
Right. Zero experience in car electronics. He just crammed the manuals for a few days, combined that practical info with his knack for systems thinking.
And became their expert almost overnight.
It shows that incredible ability to synthesize information and apply it super fast once he's in the right context. That's the Aspergian advantage finding its place.
Which brings us to maybe the most dramatic example, the car crash.
Yeah, a really intense story. He and a friend were in a serious accident caused by a drunk driver. Horrific scene.
Passenger dead, driver badly injured.
And the first police officer on the scene was completely overcome. Emotional distress, threw up, couldn't function effectively.
But the author and his friend.
They saw it differently, not as a tragedy first, but as a problem to solve.
A problem.
A set of urgent, logical steps. Car leaking gas, driver trapped and bleeding heavily. Risk assessment, extrication, apply a tourniquet. They just did it
Yeah.
without the emotional overwhelm.
Okay, hold on. Is the source really saying that this kind of detached, logical problem solving in a crisis is like a better form of empathy?
That's exactly what he argues. It's provocative for sure.
It seems like a huge leap.
Well, his point is, the officer's emotional response, while understandable, made him useless in that moment. The author's Aspergian lack of immediate emotional processing allowed him to perform the actions that actually helped. That saved the driver's life, despite the driver causing the mess.
So the action itself, taken at personal risk to help someone, is the empathy, regardless of the internal emotional state.
That's his argument. Functional compassion over felt emotion. He suggests this is why people on the spectrum can excel in high-stress roles, emergency services, military medicine.
Because they see the puzzle, not just the pain.
They can compartmentalize the trauma and focus on the mechanics of the solution.
Okay, let's bring this together then. For you listening, what are the core strategies we can pull from this story? How did he make it work?
Number one, absolutely. Find your niche. Find where that intense focus is valued and lean into it. Don't keep trying to fit into systems that reject you.
Like he did with electronics.
Exactly. Second, develop those workarounds for the social stuff. The mental clock, the handshake rule he developed, ways to build and keep that reserve of goodwill.
And underpinning it all.
Competence is currency. Get good at something valuable. Acquire skills, acquire wisdom. That's what makes the difference. He explicitly says life often gets much better for Aspergians as they get older.
Because they have time to build that competence and learn the social rules.
Right. They turn what looked like a childhood disability into a real adult strength.
It's interesting he found so much comfort in predictability. Machines, nature.
Yeah, he felt safer in the woods with animals than with people sometimes. Because, as he put it,
The danger from animals is predictable and foreseeable.
people often are not.
That really drove his need to understand the human, the Nippical rulebook, didn't it? To make the unpredictable predictable.
It was a survival mechanism, mapping the human world like he'd map a circuit diagram.
So we've traced this pretty extraordinary journey to find safety and success in a world that often felt alien.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to ponder. He relied on the predictable, non-human world, nature, machines, logic. So what predictable things, what systems or routines you lean on when the social world feels chaotic or overwhelming? Could be algorithms, nature, pets, strict routines. Worth thinking about.